Greetings, everyone. My name is Marlon Carter, and today I'm joined by Julia Cepeda, Daniel Gori, and our very own Obed Zuniga for the purpose of educating all who view this video and seek to extract from the contents of this message to improve their abilities as a public speaker. So, I say to all of my audience members, thank you for joining me for this very special presentation. All right, first things first, let us go over exactly what are presentation aids. Well, you see, presentation aids are important supportive enhancements to our presentations to make them more comprehensible. They help to capture the audience's attention and improve the retention of information. They make complex ideas easier to grasp and can significantly increase the effectiveness of a presentation. Now, let us hear from one of our group members, Julia Cepeda.
Hi everybody, my name is Julia Cepeda and I'm going to be discussing with you for the next two slides about available presentation ads. We do have 6 options that we are going to discuss today, which are drawings and maps, charts, graphs, props, photos, and video and animations. The first 3 here are the drawings and maps, charts, and graphs. So these 3 aids here, I would like to relate based on a business and scientific scale. If you can't tell by the middle and then the third picture, they are a bar graph and then a line graph. You can see the results that are based on there due to the horizontal factors affecting the vertical factors creating that result. I think these charts help illustrate points that would be too hard to explain. When it does come to numbers and statistics, it is a very lengthy conversation. So therefore, having these graphs would help the audience understand and retain the information more, creating a better result for your presentation that your audience understands what you were trying to get across and possibly take it home to use that in their own personal lives or work lives to help them succeed or progress more in their work area. Following from the previous slide, we are going to be talking about the last 3 presentational aids, which are props, photos, and video and animations. Starting with props and photos, I do like to say both of these things can help an audience connect emotionally. When I say this, I mean that a presenter can bring out a pen, a paper, or even a stuffed animal where an audience can see this certain object and maybe relate back to their life where they had something similar to those objects that impacted their life severely. I think all 3 of these presentational aids help appeal to the senses of the audience as well, making their brain think, creating those empathetic emotional responses, or just any emotional aspect that can bring through these videos, pictures, and props. When it comes to the videos and the animations, I like to believe that many presenters get that from Google or even social media and stuff like that, which is able to be accessed all over around the world. Everybody that you see on social media comes from a different state, a different country, a different continent, and they are on those platforms to help show you the things that are going on somewhere else where you wouldn't think about on a daily basis. Um, this creates, that a emotional response and that intellectual response as well, where the audience can relate or connect to the presenter, so that way the presenter can successfully come across their end goal, which is whatever their presentation is about.
Hello everyone, my name is Obed Zuniga, and so for functionality of visual aids, they need to have a purpose or and function to be able to be an effective use of the speaker's resources and time. And so for them to be effective, their function needs to be to let the audience themselves be able to understand what the topic at hand is being said, giving them the puzzle pieces, but not uh, solving it for them, just giving them the broad picture for them to be able to put the pieces in themselves together. As well, another function would be to create engagement between the speaker and the audience, to let the audience become a part of the presentation itself and not just be a mindless spectator out there and no interaction at all. Engagement creates a connection between audience and speaker. in a way that allows the audience to remember it more, to be able to remember it even after the presentation itself is over. As well, another function would be to simplify the what is being said, to not include a bunch of uh, intellectual jargon or of the topic itself, so that even anyone could understand what is being said in this topic, no matter what the topic is, whether it be just about, like something simple like fossils to something like astrophysics. As well, the visual aids should be there to, entertain the people, make them feel like, oh, say, oh, wow, this is something incredibly amazing that lingers in their mind way after the presentation is done, and lets the speaker do a better job in the future as well, to be able to gain more of an audience that takes more interest in whatever topic at hand is.
Hi guys, this is Danielle Gorey, and I'm going to tell you how to use visual aids in a presentation or a speech. First thing to consider is, do they support what you are trying to say? Your second point would be the quantity of slides or visual aids that you're using. You don't want to have too many to be overbearing, to confuse your audience, or create a distraction. This brings me to them being simple and clear. Your visual aids should be simple and clear, crisp, not grainy, not confusing, and they should be visualized by the very back of your audience where you're giving your speech or your presentation. Your visual aids should be comprehensive into the things that you're trying to say or express to your audience. You don't need a visual aid for every key point of your speech. Does your presentation need visual aids? This is something to take into account when deciding whether or not to use a visual aid for your presentation or your speech. Not every point needs a visual aid. In fact, sometimes it becomes confusing or distracting to your audience. You should ask yourself, once you've made your outline, which topics would better utilize a visual aid. And in the end, your visual aids should aid your presentation or your speech, not hinder it.
Thank you, Danielle, for conveying that brief yet comprehensible message. Now to the audience. In conclusion to this presentation, you now know what various visual aids are at your disposal. What functions do they serve in life? And not just how, but why we use presentation aids. These simple yet life-changing visual aids serve purposes in our society in which many lives would have been lost if otherwise. For example, Jillian Jones, a nurse and member of Army ROTC, she demonstrated important emergency medical procedures to her Army comrades. Just imagine how difficult it would have been for Jones to describe such sophisticated medical procedures without using the dummy. Visual aids not only help an audience to understand key points, but they can also make a presentation interesting and exciting. Thank you for watching. Greetings, everyone. If you've made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you on behalf of my team. We all appreciate you very much for stopping by and listening to this video. We hope that you were able to extract from the contents of this message that you may grow as an individual and reach towards what you are seeking to become in this life. We hope that you can also grow as a public speaker and reach levels in which you may not even know that yourself is capable of. Truly, we thank you. Once again, this is Marlon. Peace and blessings.